Okay, so making this video on how to write articles. This is our very first piece of writing, and all the materials I will upload to our Schoology group. Now, if you're using a computer or an iPad, I think you should find in the menu this word, materials, click inside, and then choose our first unit. And under writing, you should see I have prepared a folder for this short writing. We are writing an article, and then the question that we have to write about is also written here. But obviously, on the day that we write in the class, you will also see the topic. I'll give it to you. So if you click into this folder, okay, we're using this link, this uh, Wikitribune link, as an example of an article. So this is an example of a magazine article or a newspaper article. Okay, so this will be put here, and this video will also be uploaded here as well. Okay, so let's get started. Now, article is a major uh, genre that you need to learn because it comes out in the DSE very often, and also if you go to uni, I think many articles uh, will be read. Okay, if you're taking like the social sciences like psychology, sociology, and most of the time you'll be spent reading journal articles. So that's one kind of article. But in the DSE, most of the time they will ask you to write newspaper articles, magazine articles, or articles to be printed in newsletters, like school newsletters. Okay, so the example that I've just shown you is from Wiki Tribune. This is a very reliable source of information because they have an extra layer of fact checking involved before they print articles. So if you see this example, now this article is kind of related to the article which you have to write later. So it's about sleep. Okay, so take some time to read it at home. Okay, what I want you to see is like the structure of the writing. So there's a title, and then this part should be here we go. The subtitle should be here, and then it gets to the body, the writing. Okay, all the way down. Okay, to the conclusion. You can read it at home. Okay. Um, Now, when do we write articles? What's the purpose? How do we use it? Okay, usually articles are written to recount an event. Okay, so maybe in the past week there was a festival, and then like you're a news reporter and you're writing an article about it. That's one way, and then another way is to discuss different views on a topic. So this would be something like a piece on politics, written on politics, so you get like arguments from both sides, and then you as the writer has to kind of draw a balance and write about the views from both sides uh, while being objective. Okay, and then another um, usage of writing articles is to explain things. Right, so this includes articles in National Geographic magazine. So obviously it's kind of scientific. So they will be explaining different like natural phenomena, or explaining why animals are going extinct. Those things. So it's one use of writing articles. And then lastly, we write articles to give advice, like general advice. Like if you look to the right here, this article is gonna talk about why children are feeling more stressful now, and then at the end they will offer like stress management here. So there's kind of like a general advice teaching people how to combat stress. Okay, now it's not all or nothing kind of writing. So sometimes articles will include a combination of the above requirements. Okay, now it's up to you to judge whether the question requires certain things. Okay, and for the language that we use to write articles, a variety of tenses will be used. Again, depending on the purpose. For example, if we're writing an article that mostly explains certain processes, um, we'll be using the simple present tense. okay? Or if it's a recount of a past activity or event, then you have to talk about the past. Or if it's a very recent past, then obviously you use present perfect tense. Okay. Now, for the more explanatory articles, you have to be very good at arguments, and then you have to be very structural and talk about the cause and effect of certain things. So in those cases, you will need uh, everything you got, like connectives, conjunctions, as long as you can link sentences together and the reader can follow the flow, okay? They can follow your thoughts, okay? And then lastly, uh, again, if you're explaining, possibilities in the article, like if this person does that, then something else will happen. Those things. Those are conditional sentences, which I'm pretty sure you're very familiar by now. And modals, obviously, when you're talking about probability and possible outcomes, then you use a lot of modals, and they can help make your article more persuasive sometimes. Okay, so watch your language. Okay, I'll say usually articles, the language would be formal language to semi-formal. Yeah. Sometimes some people write like really informal articles, but those are very specific cases. Okay. Now, uh, a very generic structure for an article would be, as we have seen the Wikipedia, Wiki Tribune article. There's an opening, and then there's a title and subtitle. Okay, so usually if you've got time, okay, don't spend too much time on it, but if you can in the exam, okay, think of a catchy title, okay, because most articles, they do have very catchy titles. They want to they want the reader to pay attention very quickly, okay, and then once you get to the body, remember one main idea for one paragraph, okay. Do not mix things up and jumble everything, okay. uh, you need to be very thorough and structured, okay, to show the reader you know what you're talking about. And one way of doing it is to order things, okay, in a way that helps the reader. And one main idea per paragraph is one way to do that, okay. And another way would be topic sentences. You always lead with a topic sentence. So for example, I have a paragraph that talks about, okay, the rubbish problem, okay, we are wasting too much, okay, we throw too much rubbish. And then in that one main paragraph, right, I'm going to talk about the causes, you know or maybe I'll zoom in and talk about the Hong Kong habit of just throwing everything away. And then under this idea, I will lead the paragraph with a topic sentence, probably with something like, okay, if you observe a Hong Konger's everyday life, you know on average, each Hong Konger throws away 20 pounds of rubbish daily. Now, that's one topic sentence. So, the reader, even if they don't continue reading the paragraph, they will know what I'm going to talk about in that paragraph, right? So, in the conclusion, now, do not just reiterate the points, okay? Do try to summarize the insight. So, there is a main message, right? Why you want to write that article, okay? So try to draw some insight for the reader and leave some food for thoughts. So you can watch this video again if you missed something, and you will probably start writing 2 days later. Okay, see you.